Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining the session. I'm Amulya from IBM. As the title suggests, first, let's try to understand what exactly is this fear and how to eliminate it. We know that for any project, a CI/CD is important for code confidence and quality. If the project involves creating infrastructure resources, managing them could be tricky because there's always a chance of stale resources, which is difficult to track and manage. Scary, right? So can we have automation to manage it on project level? Sure. But can we make it more generic? Yes. This is where Boskos comes into picture. Any quick show of hands if anybody has heard of Boskos? All right, thank you. In simple terms, it's a resource manager service that manages resources of a particular type by transitioning between states. Now, those are a lot of terms. Let's break this down with an example. Before we move ahead, it is also to be noted that Boskos is currently used in the official CI/CD system of Kubernetes projects, that is PROW. Consider a test case scenario where we have to run Kubernetes conformance tests and the requirement is a virtual machine. Traditionally, you could be storing the information about the resources specific to the project at a place and managing them. We can streamline it using Boskos. Boskos is a controller which is associated with a custom resource. So the custom resource defines the type of resource we want Boskos to manage. So first, we define the type of resource. In our case, it would be a VM and deploy it. Then we define a manifest of the resources and also the attributes and deploy where Boskos, the controller, which will register the resources and manage them. As you can see, here is the list, and each resource has some attributes such as type, state, owner, and last updated time. Each resource also has some user data associated to it, which the job can use. For example, the VM can have its ID or any specific information you want it to have. As I mentioned earlier, Boskos manages resource via states. So a resource exists in a particular state at any given time. The basic states are free, busy, and dirty, and we'll see how a resource transitions through them. So initially, when a job requests a resource, we expect it to be in free state for the job to pick it up and use it. So once it is, we lease a free resource, the job uses it, and while in use, the state transitions to busy, and post that we release the resource. Once the resource is released, the state transitions to dirty. And here another component, janitor, comes into picture, and as the name suggests, janitor is responsible for cleaning up the resource and adding it back to the pool in a state we expect it to be. So while cleanup, the state transitions into cleaning, and then we set it to free. So in this example, the janitor could clean up the VM and create a new one and add it back to the pool with the necessary dependencies that the job needs. So zooming out on what we discussed with an end-to-end flow, once a job is triggered and the job requires a resource of type VM, we ask Boskos for a free resource, we use it, and while in use, we continuously update to Boskos that the resource is in use and keep the state as busy. And once the resource is done, once the job is done and the resource is used, we release it back to Boskos and set it as dirty, where janitor comes into picture, cleans it up, and add it back to the pool. Here, another component called Reaper plays an important role in a scenario due to any reason where the resource is stuck in a state such as busy or cleaning. Janitor transitions it after a certain period, Reaper transitions it after a certain period of time to dirty, where the janitor comes, picks it up, cleans it, and marks it as free. We can see how the resource transitions through different states here. This ensures that no resource is left unattended. How do we set up Boskos on a cluster? First, decide the type of resource you want for your specific job, implement the janitor accordingly to cater to different infrastructures, and you add the resources to Boskos. You configure your Boskos, janitor, and Reaper accordingly. Similar steps can be followed to add new infrastructure resources to the upstream PROW cluster as well. To know more, you can check out the GitHub repository, and you can reach out on Slack on SIG testing. With that, we come to an end. Thank you very much.